Hi, I'm Don. Today is the first time we're painting with the new Cuttlefish colors that are all available at creaturecaster.com. Also, this video is a model from Printed Obsession, which is my newest partner, Patreon partner, and will turn his model into this. Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my studio. So I did the zenital underpainting already via dry brush, but at the latter part of the dry brushing, I use an airbrush to paint the white highlights. As usual, we're using my Redgrass V2 wet palette. I've fixed the wrinkles and stuff, and also we're using the Cuttlefish Merlin's Magic Medium for the first time. We start with the base colors. I'm using Toasty Skin, and I was really nervous at the start of the painting because I don't know the nuances of the paints. I need maybe a week or a couple of weeks of really intensive painting so that I get to know all of the nuances of all the paints or all of the colors. The Cuttlefish colors that are now available via creaturecaster.com comes in bigger bottles, 22 ml bottles, and they have a label at the bottom of the names of the colors that says sketch and glaze. Sketch means those paints are extra opaque and perfect for base colors and sketching. And then you have the glaze paints which are semi-translucent and of course perfect for glazing. However, the paints that I'm using here, the bottles, are old bottles sent to me by Cephalopod Studios. These are basically like sample bottles. And I'm not complaining or anything, but they don't have the labels that says glaze or sketch. So I had to test the paints before I use them. Like for example, this one I think I'm using some sketch colors because they're really opaque and they're perfect for sketching. So in terms of sketching, it's basically, some people call it blocking, and I'm a basketball fan and blocking doesn't really make sense to me. And I'm an artist, I draw sometimes, and I draw, I do commission works of illustrations and stuff. So sketching makes, like the name sketching makes the most sense for me because I'm practically just applying the paints on top of the model and applying it in a very carefree, sketchy manner. I'm not focused on the blending or like even the saturation or the colors used. It's mostly just creating volume as I catch lighter colors and later with a bit of darker colors. So the cuttlefish colors are designed to work perfectly with this method in which you do sketches, you apply the paints as carefree as you can, and you apply and create volume so that you have a nice like looking model, although it's a bit rough because it's sketchy. And then you do glazes after, that's why we call it sketch and glaze. And basically the paints are made to like fit that painting method, which is like my painting method actually for a while now. And thus these paints were actually made for me. No, just kidding. It just the paints kind of fits my painting style, if you could call my painting a style. But I really feel comfortable with the whole painting process, and it's very carefree again, and it's very relaxing. Of course, much like some painters, you could make the painting look very hard. Like you could paint the sketch paints and then glaze, sketch and glaze, sketch and glaze, so that it's very difficult to follow and you will look like a master painter. Just kidding. Now we're glazing. You see in the video that I'm using the like the Merlin's Magic Medium with the paints. If you add around 1:1 medium to paint, it will give you a nice glaze layer consistency. You could add a bit more medium, roughly up to around 1 part paint to 3 parts medium. That will give you a super transparent paint. And again, you will look like a master painter because you can't see like the effect immediately on videos, and you will look really masterful. But I recommend like using the 1:1 ratio with the glazing. With this one, the lazy wash, it's roughly around 1 part paint and 2 parts medium. It's a bit transparent, but it flows around the model really well. It's basically you created a wash out of the paint, and it's nice to filter down all those sketches and highlights, and you kind of smoothen them out with the lazy wash. Now you see in the video, I'm stippling like the highlights of the skin. Via stippling, I will produce a bit of texture, and thus I won't really be pressured to create very nice transitions, because the texture of the stippling will give me like a very textured skin, and yet it kind of blends well with the model and or the overall painting. I thinned it around maybe 2 parts paint and 1 part medium, and applied it in strokes and stippling to create nice highlights. Now for the highlighting, I was nervous because I'm so used to using my highlight sauce, my $100 highlight sauce, and my Vallejo paints. But the paints kind of work super fine. I think I'm using a sketch paint, and I added a very small amount of Merlin's medium, and it painted very nice crisp highlights, and I'm very happy. After painting the highlights, I did a few more glazes to like add interest to the model, a few greens to the club, a few green glazes to the base, and also I used vampire wine to add freckles to the skin. I really like purples, especially over skin, because it adds a very nice interest to the overall look of the model. Now, before our golden lemon reveal, I would just like to thank all my patrons. Although I haven't updated this list yet, basically a ton of thanks to my gold, platinum, and my highest tier, my palladium patrons, Matt Adamo and Marco Colucci. Now here is the golden lemon reveal of this model. I could actually continue to smoothen down like the transitions of the colors via glazing. It's very easy. It's maybe an hour or two again, and just a couple of passes to make it look perfect. But I prefer a painterly look with my models. I don't really like the smooth finish. That if it's too smooth, I find it boring. So I want it to look painterly, and I'm happy with the glazing and the highlighting of these paints. That's it, Pansit. That's it, we're done. I hope you liked the video. Do like, comment, subscribe, and consider joining the channel so that you'll be part of our Discord community. Saludos!